Okay, welcome. Welcome back. My last post was a month ago. I took a little time off because we finished basically with everything in the text, except for the exercises, the 365 exercises. I didn't know how to tackle that. And there's a lot of people online on YouTube that approach that do those things. So what I've decided to do is to focus on the supplements. All right, supplements to A Course in Miracles. All right, and if you see, there's the Song of Prayer and the Psychotherapy pamphlet. All right, we're going to concentrate first on the Song of Prayer. All right, prayer, forgiveness, and healing. All right, and you can get a copy of this. I don't know if Amazon has it. They probably do. They got everything. And or else you can go to the Foundation for A Course in Miracles. All right, FACIM.org. All right, and go to their bookstore and ask for. You can ask for a psychotherapy pamphlet, the Song of Prayer, or supplements to A Course in Miracles. Okay. And then I'd like to say thank you to the people who are give me encouragement. All right, there's Colleen and Sarah, all right, and William and Bill over in Scotland. All right, and people that comment, Peter. People that regularly view and comment on these posts, these videos. I appreciate it. In a lot of different ways, I really appreciate it. So, what we're going to do is we're going to get right into this after I digress. All right, so we're going to begin with the Song of Prayer. These supplements came about a year after the Course was published. I believe the Course was published in 1977, all right, or around there, 76. These began in 1977. All right, Dr. Wapnick says they began coming through Helen in September of 1977, and they finished in November. So it was September, October, November, 3 months, and there was these 2 pamphlets were taken in. And Dr. Wapnick said he really thought that there would be a lot more things like this, but he said Helen just said, no, that was it. I'm done. I'm done. I'm not having it. All right, in her own special way, I guess she said, ain't nobody got time for this. But it was taken down the same way as the Course and her poetry, actually. Ken said it's not that she heard a voice, it's almost as if she would see in her mind's eye, she would see the words. All right. At any rate, this is exquisite writing. It's beautiful writing. Okay. And these pamphlets help to integrate the ideas. They're little tweaking of things that were going on already a year after the Course was published. Especially in regard to prayer, Ken always makes a joke that, Helen Schuckman, the scribe, would always be asking Jesus for, where to stand, which corner was best to stand on to get a cab in New York, or where she should go to buy her favorite green pantyhose, things of that nature, very mundane things. So, and this is Jesus' way of telling her that you're not doing anything wrong. He says, but you could do a lot better. You can do a lot better. And this was, some of the ways he was explaining to her about prayer and what we'll see, and what I would like everyone to take note of really is to do not criticize yourself. All right, do not criticize yourself for not already being in the real world. All right, where everything is a reflection of the oneness and the innocence. All right, don't criticize yourself. All right, Jesus is going to tell you. He's going to tell you what the perfect, pure prayers, what pure prayer is. And then he's going to tell you that there's steps. It's a process. It's a ladder, as he's going to tell us. All right. So if you're asking, you're asking where should I go to get something, or can I get this? Can I have that? He says it's okay. You're on the right ladder, right? But you're just on the bottom rungs, that's all. And there's ways to work your way up, and do not criticize yourself for being on the bottom rung. We are all beginners, basically. All right? I don't care how much time I have put into reading A Course in Miracles and going to lectures or classes or seminars, whatever you want to call them, and going to weekly meetings with a wonderful teacher, Emily Andrews, who passed away 10, 12 years ago or so. All right, she would have her classes on Long Island, and every Saturday morning I'd scurry out there. All right, but do not judge yourself, okay? Okay, this time I mean it. We're going to start. So, prayer. This is the introduction. Prayer is the greatest gift with which God blessed his Son at his creation. It was then what it is to become. The single voice Creator and creation share. The song the Son sings to the Father, who returns the thanks it offers him unto the Son. Endless the harmony, endless too the joyous concord of the love they give forever to each other. And in this, creation is extended. God gives thanks to his extension in his Son. His Son gives thanks for his creation in the song of his creating in his Father's name. The love they share is what all prayer will be throughout eternity when time is done. For such it was before time seemed to be. Right. So prayer is the greatest gift. It was then what it is to become. And what it means by that, it was then what it is to become, is that it was that just being in the presence of your Creator, right? And the Creator being so enamored of you, the extension of the Creator. This is what he means by the song of prayer. It's like a silent song of gratitude and love that the created offers to the Creator, and the Creator offers to the created. Right? And we use the term Son and Father in the Course in Miracles. Okay? And even back then, there were people who were upset by the masculine pronouns constantly. But seriously, just try to work past that. It's just language, right? and we have to use language. That's what he means by this course comes in an ego framework. All right. The song the Son sings to the Father, who returns the thanks it offers him unto the Son. Endless the harmony, and endless too the joyous concord of the love they give forever to each other. And in this, creation is extended. God gives thanks to his extension in his Son. His Son gives thanks for his creation in the song of his creating in his Father's name. The love they share is what all prayer will be throughout eternity when time is done. For such it was before time seemed to be. Right? So time only seems to be. Right? So prayer is that communion, right? That union with Creator and created. Right? The knowing. See, to put something ineffable in words. We leave that to the poets. Okay. So we'll go on to paragraph 2. To you who are in time a little while, prayer takes the form that best will suit your need. You have but one. Right? What God created one must recognize its oneness and rejoice that what illusions seem to separate is forever in the mind of God. Prayer now must be the means by which God's Son leaves separate goals and separate interests by, and turns in holy gladness to the truth of union in his Father and himself. All right? It's a process of rising up. All right? Remember, it's a process. And he's talking to us who are in time, to you who are in time a little while. He says, prayer takes the form that best will suit your need. All right? And because we believe we're here, we need some expression of God's love here. All right? And what God created one must recognize its oneness. All right? And rejoice that what illusions seem to separate is one forever in the mind of God. So we think we're separated people. We think we're separated from God. But in the mind of God, everything is still one. And that's where we truly are. Right? And it's the process of awakening that we're involved in. Right? And as we're awakening, it seems like a step-by-step process. Prayer suits our needs. It meets us where we are. All right? All right? And it takes the form that best will suit your need. All right? A lot of times people say, well, I pray for this. I pray for peace. Right? I pray to have my perception changed, and nothing works. Nothing works. He's still attacking me. He's still a monster. She's still a monster. All right? They're crazy. They won't stop. And I get caught up in it. All right? But the answer is to keep going into the mind, to that place that remembers the communion with your Creator. All right? We call it the Holy Spirit. We call it right mind. Right? Jesus is a symbol of that. Ask Jesus. And the idea is to let go of separate interests. That's a big deal. to let go of the idea of separation and separate interests, and just sit in the oneness. Hold Jesus' hand, whatever symbol you want to use, whatever picture you want to use in your imagination. All right. And just be desirous of peace of mind. All right. And because we think we need specific form answers, you'll get it. You'll get answered. All right. Perhaps not the way you want. All right. But your situation, it will fit your situation. Okay. Someone I know calls me and says their husband, who is deteriorating mentally, is becoming more and more vicious. Not physically, but constant verbal attacks and, just throwing guilt, projecting guilt all over the person. And I asked Jesus to help me, but it doesn't stop. So it's got nothing to do with his actions. Right? What I'm asking Jesus for is just help me to be peaceful. Right? And what it might look like is that she goes to another friend or a therapist, and the therapist just tells her, when he starts up, just, if you can, get in your car and take a drive. You don't have to be there for the verbal abuse. Just get yourself ready and take a walk, take a drive. Go somewhere, have a cup of coffee, meet some friends for lunch. So for her, in that specific moment, it meets her specific need just to remove herself from the bombast, from the situation. Right? And because we think we're so individual and specific, the answers come and fit our individuality. All right? If I have a problem, any kind of a problem, it's my problem. I see it that way. Right? And what I'm learning is that I give up my solution. Right? Yeah, I know how to fix this. I know what I'll do. I'll say this or I'll do that. And those are all ego solutions. And what he's going to be telling us about the power of prayer is just to be in that memory, to connect in your mind. Just connect with the symbol of Jesus. Right? That's a good beginning. Right? And we just want, all we really want is to be peaceful. And it's a good idea to be able to say, and I want the other person to be peaceful too. If they were peaceful, if they had peace of mind, they wouldn't be breaking my horns. They wouldn't be annoying me. I don't know if breaking my horns is a Queen's thing. But they wouldn't be annoying me if they had peace of mind, right? They're only attacking in whatever way they attack because they're in pain, right? And you're in front of them, so it must be you who caused the pain. And if it's not you, you're a convenient target. And Jesus is not telling you got to stand there and take it. Right? Sometimes the solution is remove yourself. All right? I know in the videos in the past I've said you can be peaceful and you can love that person from 1,000 miles away. You can be very, very forgiving, right? You just don't need to get caught up in the crazy anymore, right? Because most likely, they're not going to change. What has to change is my perception of them, right? So when I'm sitting in that realm of peace, if I need a word, I'll get the words. If I need an action, I'll know what to do. Right? But you come from peace. You come from the peace. Right? And soon you'll recognize, as you move along, you'll recognize that you were answered because something has changed. And more you'll have more and more gratitude for that, and you'll want that experience, which is the best, because then you keep going back. You keep going back to that love that's in your mind. Okay. So, just to end paragraph 2, prayer now must be the means by which God's Son leaves separate goals and separate interests by and turns in holy gladness to the truth of union in his Father and himself. So that's just a beautifully poetic way of saying going into the right mind, right? And being in that milieu of oneness. There's no separation. Right? And even if you notice that you're still thinking of separate things and you still feel separate, just, it's okay. It's okay. You're working on it. And you could even tell Jesus, I need to work on things. Help me out here. Right? Right? Throw me a bone, bro. And it's a process. Always going to be telling us it's a process. We turn in holy gladness to the truth of the union with the Father. Right? We try to realize that. Help me to see that. That's what he means in the beginning of the text when he says we're trying to remove the blocks to the awareness of love's presence. So the first thing I need to do really is to identify what's blocking me, right? I really can't get past the fear and anger I feel whenever I see this person. All right. But I'm desirous of peace. So show me. I want you to show me the way. All right. Paragraph 3. Lay down your dreams, you holy Son of God, and rising up as God created you, dispense with idols and remember him. Prayer will sustain you now and bless you as you lift your heart to him in rising song that reaches higher and then higher still, until both high and low have disappeared. Faith in your goal will grow and hold you up as you ascend the shining stairway to the lawns of heaven and the gate of peace. For this is prayer, and here salvation is. This is the way. It is God's gift to you. It's so beautiful. I know it's like I take, just if you can, purchase it. I don't know if they have an audio version or if you can get it somehow streaming with somebody else reading it. It's absolutely beautiful. And he's just telling us, this is the introduction. You're going to turn, as the text says in different ways, you're turning to the stately calm within. All right? You turn to that. And prayer is now going to be a means of leaving separate interests, separate goals. All right? We're going to turn with holy gladness to the truth of the oneness. Right? That's what you're doing when you go in, you just go inside to your internal teacher, eternal and internal teacher. And you just sit in the oneness. All right? And if you need to work on things, your sincerity will move you along. All right? You notice there's a block. All right? I could use some help with that. All right? And faith in your goal will grow and hold you up. All right? As you ascend the shining stairway to the lawns of heaven and the gate of peace. For this is prayer, and here salvation is. This is the way. It is God's gift to you. All right? So God's gift to you is that realization of oneness, the knowing. All right? And we turn to that because we have that memory in our mind. We took that memory with us as we came into the Mishigash. We came into the world of form, right? The world of separation, separate interests, me or you, all right? One or the other. All right? And this world tries to prove that you have done it, you separated. All right? And Jesus keeps reminding you, you haven't. Don't worry about it, as my brother would say. Don't worry about it. All right? When we turn to that stately calm within, as they say, we turn to the truth of union in the Father and Himself. This will hold you up as you go along. All right? And don't criticize yourself for falling back. Don't just rededicate yourself to truth. All right? I know I make a lot of boomer song references, as a friend of mine told me. But there's a Crosby, Stills and Nash, and I think Young was there too, when they did the song Southern Cross. And he says, think about how many times I have fallen. All right? And Jesus says, yeah, but that's okay. Don't worry about it. Just get back up. Get back up and rededicate yourself to truth. Don't criticize yourself. That delays the process. All right? But once you're on the path, the end is certain. All right? Once you have begun, the end is certain. And if you're listening to this and you're searching, or if you're listening to any of the wonderful teachers that are out there, I'm just a student. All right? There's so many different forms of truth that have come down through the ages, right? And if you're a student of any of those, you're on the path, right? And you will succeed. You will become a Buddha. You will wake up. All right? Remember, the root form of Buddha is Bud, which means to wake, to waken. And Jesus talks about this whole experience as being a dream. So we're waiting. We're striving to wake up. Okay? And the prayer, that remembrance of union with God, just sitting in the union. That's the song, just sitting there. That's God's gift to you, as He says. Okay, let's start with section 1. And that's all we'll cover today is section 1. So don't be afraid, I won't talk forever. Section 1 is called True Prayer. All right? And I have a little note here that just says, let the words just flow over you. All right? This is just, it's just beautiful. All right? True prayer. Prayer is a way offered by the Holy Spirit to reach God. It is not merely a question or an entreaty. It cannot succeed until you realize that it asks for nothing. How else could it serve its purpose? It is impossible to pray for idols and hope to reach God. True prayer must avoid the pitfall of asking to entreat. Ask rather to receive what is already given, to accept what is already there. All right? So he starts out with bottom line, all right? You realize that true prayer asks for nothing. That's the ultimate realization. We're on our way to that realization, remember. Don't beat yourself over the head, because you ask for something, like the relief from pain or the relief of suffering for a friend or something. Don't worry about that. As Dr. Wapnick would say, you're on the right ladder. All right? You're asking God. All right? Ask rather to receive what is already given and to accept what is already there. In other words, in true prayer, as he's going to be telling us, just ask for what is already given. What is given? The oneness. The totality of the oneness, where there are no needs. All right? That's what we're striving for. All right? To accept what is already there. We're constantly reminded that we're already at home in the mind of God. We're just dreaming of this exile here. Okay. Paragraph 2. You have been told to ask the Holy Spirit for the answer to any specific problem, and that you will receive a specific answer if such is your need. You've also been told that there is only one problem and one answer. In prayer, this is not contradictory. There are decisions to make here, and they must be made whether they be illusions or not. You cannot be asked to accept answers which are beyond the level of need that you can recognize. Therefore, it is not the form of the question that matters, nor how it is asked. The form of the answer, if given by God, will suit your need as you see it. This is merely an echo of the reply of his voice. The real sound is always a song of thanksgiving and love. All right. So therefore, you cannot be asked to accept answers which are beyond the level of need that you can recognize. So, someone comes to me and says, I'm praying for my son. It's very unkind of me to just give some kind of a platitude and say, well, just remember that this is an illusion, and you're really in the mind of God. That's not helping, as my wife would say. All right? It's not helping. The form of the answer, if given by God, will suit your need as you see it. You're not asked to accept giant platitudes that are way above what you're experiencing, right? Or beyond what you're experiencing, not above it, right? That would be cruel, all right? But he's just telling us what the answer you're getting is just the echo of God's love. This is merely an echo of the reply of his voice. All right? Because he tells us, look, there's things you got to do here. And you have to do them whether they're illusions or not. I mean, you got to pay the rent. You know, you got to get dressed if you're going outside. You know, there's certain things you have to do. You have to go buy food. You have to eat. Right, if you want to maintain the form, right? There's no need to suffer. Right? Suffering is not going to get you anywhere. I mean, it's not necessary for your atonement process. Right? Your atonement process is just remembering that you're innocent, and so is everyone else who's not separate. Nobody's separate from you. Right? That's the atonement, accepting the innocence for yourself. Right? But he says you'll get answers. Right? And that's the beginning form of the prayer. You're getting the echo of God's love. So then he says in paragraph 3, you know, as far as true prayer goes, he goes, you cannot then ask for the echo. It is the song that is the gift. Along with it comes the overtones, the harmonics, the echoes, but these are secondary. In true prayer, you hear only the song. All the rest is merely added. You have sought first the kingdom of heaven, and all else has indeed been given you. All right. So what he's doing here, as he's speaking to Helen, he's telling her, come on now, I'm going to give you a booster shot here. All right. What you want to do is sit in the awareness of your oneness with everything, with your Creator, and with the universe, and the abundance that comes with that. He says, and as you do that, in your life of form, everything else will be, you know, echoes, harmonics. All right? Overtones, harmonics, and echoes. He says, but these are secondary. He's not saying they're bad, right? He's just saying these are secondary things. And we want to work our way up to where we're the fool on the hill, right? We're just sitting in the realization of the oneness. And that's where you're going. Believe me. Well, you don't have to believe me, but that's where you're going. You will get to that at some moment in time, and you realize that time is part of the world of form also. So, as he's talking about true prayer in paragraph 4, so true prayer is that sitting in that knowledge, in that awareness. And he says the secret of true prayer is to forget the things you think you need. To ask for the specific is much the same as to look on sin and then forgive it. Also, in the same way, In prayer, you overlook your specific needs as you see them and let them go into God's hands. There, they become your gifts to Him, for they tell Him that you would have no gods before Him, no love but His. What could His answer be but your remembrance of Him? Can this be traded for a bit of trifling advice about a problem of an instant's duration? God answers only for eternity. But still, all little answers are contained in this. Okay? So it's a practice. It's a practice of coming to the right mind, right? Coming to the Holy Spirit, coming to that stately calm within, however you want to describe it, right? Holding Jesus' hand and sitting down in the garden, right? That's where you want to be. And he goes, all little answers are contained in this. So while we still believe we have needs, we will see them be tended to. Okay? But he says the practice is to drop everything. You overlook your specific needs as you see them. Right? And just let them go. And that's a practice. That's a practice. Because we're not even aware of how many things we think we need, believe me. All right. And we cling to things. You know, the Buddhists will talk about clinging. You know, that's the same kind of concept. As we just want to practice noticing what we're clinging on to. And we can ask for help with that. You don't have to let it go and never see it again. You don't have to, it's not a sacrifice. What we're going to do is we're going to look at it, whatever I'm clinging to. I'm going to ask Jesus to sit with me. Let's look at this. Help me. So that I can be comfortable in relinquishing it. Just putting it down and walking away without a sense of loss. All right? So it's a process. It's a process. But you can, as long as you can, momentarily, and like he says, how long is an instant, you can sit in that place in your mind, that memory of the oneness, and just bask in the oneness. And you just practice doing that without any needs, without any entreaties, without asking. All right? Because Jesus even tell you, so I think it's cool. I'm asking. I want to be peaceful. I want peace. He says, even that. You're stating that you're not peaceful. But we don't need to get into that. That's we just practice going into that stately calm within, and use Jesus as your companion, as a symbol. That's what we do in the Course of Miracles. All right. He even says in the text that if you're having trouble, he says, imagine yourself holding my hand. And I assure you, this will be no idle fantasy, he says. So he says, imagine yourself holding my hand. And you will be holding my hand. And I will help you. Right? The idea is to just put down the preconceived notion of what the help looks like. Try to do that. And as I said, remember, do not criticize yourself. You just keep trying. Keep going. All right? Thoroughly confused myself, lost my place. All right. So it goes, in prayer you overlook your specific needs as you see them. This is true prayer he's talking about. That true communion. Let them go into God's hands. There they become your gifts to him. For they tell him that you would have no gods before him. All right, so, whatever I think I need becomes an idol. Because this will give me peace. This will give me security. This will give me pleasure. This will make me happy. So they become idols. All right? So when we overlook our specific needs, and we let them go into God's hands. He says, they become your gifts, for they tell him you would have no gods before him. So, all right, he's just riffing on the Ten Commandments there, the first commandment. All right. No love but his. All right. What could his answer be but your remembrance of him? All right, and that's the ultimate. The remembrance of our union with God. And he says, so can this be traded for a bit of trifling advice about a problem of an instant's duration? God answers only for eternity, but still all little answers are contained in this. Okay, so if we need little answers, we'll get them. Paragraph 5, prayer is the stepping aside, a letting go, a quiet time of listening and loving. It should not be confused with supplication of any kind, because it is a way of remembering your holiness. Why should holiness entreat, being fully entitled to everything love has to offer? And it is to love you go in prayer. Prayer is an offering, a giving up of yourself to be at one with love. There is nothing to ask because there is nothing left to want. That nothingness becomes the altar of God. It disappears in him. Right. So he's describing the ultimate, true prayer, the ultimate. When you just melt into the mind of God. Right? You melt, as they would say in Star Trek. All right? It's a letting go, a quiet time of listening and loving. Prayer is an offering, a giving up of yourself to be at one with love. Right. There is nothing to ask because there is nothing left to want. That is the state of true prayer, communication. All right. And then he says in paragraph 6, this is not the level of prayer that everyone can attain as yet. Okay then. Those who have not reached it still need your help in prayer because their asking is not yet based upon acceptance. Help in prayer does not mean that another mediates between you and God, but it does mean that another stands beside you and helps to raise you up to him. One who has realized the goodness of God prays without fear. And one who prays without fear cannot but reach him. He can therefore also reach his Son, wherever he may be, and whatever form he may seem to take. Okay. So he's talking about true prayer and these great heights and these great awareness. He says, but that's still, it's not a level that everyone can attain as yet. All right? Remember, it says as yet because you will. Those who have not reached it still need your help in prayer because their asking is not yet based upon acceptance. In other words, their asking is not based upon the acceptance of the oneness, the acceptance of their own innocence, their acceptance of their union with their Creator. So their prayer is not based on that. But that's okay. All right? They're still, when all is said and done, they're still innocent and part of your mind. So help in prayer does not mean that another mediates between you and God. So, there's all priests and shamans and clerics and, all kinds of mediators. I need something from God. I got to go ask the brujo or the bruja or whoever's in charge here. The priest, right? The holy person, shaman, right? Because their asking is not yet based on acceptance, but it doesn't mean that you need a mediator. But it does mean that another stands beside you and helps to raise you up to Him. And what comes up for me, the best way to describe that is what currently we call holding the space. Right? I will sit in that space of awareness and love. I will sit in the company of Jesus. And because minds are connected, I'm actually helping the other to raise up. Right? This is not something to get credit for, believe me. Right? But because you're half a step ahead of your friend, you sit there and you sit in the oneness and you allow the echo of God's love to come through into the other's mind. All right? Because minds are joined. Okay? And that's what helps to raise them up. And hey, it might even sound like somebody says, could you pray with me? Yes, I can pray with you. I'm not going to tell them, hey, that prayer. You don't know what prayer is? That's not nice. You take the form of kindness, whatever form kindness takes. Right? Can you pray for my cousin? Yes, I can. All right? Be nice. Be loving. Whatever comforts the other, help them. But in your mind, okay, I'm going to sit with the love. And let the love come through me and take the form, whatever form it needs to take. That's the raising up. So it does mean that another stands beside you, besides the other, and helps to raise you up to Him. One who has realized the goodness of God prays without fear. Right? And one who prays without fear cannot but reach Him. So you keep practicing. All right? Because that's the big thing, is being afraid of God. Okay? So we come to that union with God without fear. And if there is. So you notice it and you ask for help in decreasing it, okay? Praying to Christ in anyone is true true prayer. All right. This is paragraph 7. Praying to Christ in anyone is true prayer because it is a gift of thanks to his Father. To ask that Christ be but himself is not an entreaty. It is a song of thanksgiving for what you are. Herein lies the power of prayer. It asks nothing and receives everything. This prayer can be shared because it receives for everyone. To pray with one who knows that this is true is to be answered. Perhaps the specific form of resolution for a specific problem will occur to either of you. It does not matter which. Perhaps it will reach both if you are genuinely attuned to one another. It will come because you have realized that Christ is in both of you. That is the only truth. Right? If you're interested, as I say, it's good to get a copy of this. Okay? Because, it takes, for me, it takes some reading and rereading, and all of a sudden you go, oh, I get it. All right? Because praying to Christ in anyone is true prayer. All right? So, my friend has a problem. They're in some dire need. They ask me, could you help me? Could you pray for this? Help me. Yes, I can. All right? In whatever form comforts them. But in my mind, I'm trying to connect with the Christ. I'm willing to see the Christ in the other. I'm willing to see the Christ everywhere. The Christ is the innocence. Right? I'm willing to see the innocence of the offspring of the Creator. All right? And he says, that's what my position is. All right? It's a song of thanksgiving. And here lies the power of prayer, because I'm connecting with all that is. Right? It asks nothing and receives everything. I'm just connecting with all that is, and I'm receiving everything. And this prayer can be shared because it's in the mind, and the minds are joined. And this prayer is shared, whether the other or others realize it or not. Our joining with the Christ, the innocence, is uplifting everyone. As they say, a rising tide lifts all boats. All right? And this prayer can be shared. Perhaps the specific form of resolution will occur to either of you. So all of a sudden, at some point, the answer appears in your mind, the resolution of the problem. It might occur to either of you. It doesn't matter which. Perhaps it will reach both if you're generally attuned to one another. But it will come because you have realized that Christ is in both of you. And that is the only truth. Because you have realized that the innocence is in both of you. And that is the only truth. And you sit in that realization while you're tending to your friend in whatever form comforts them. You're sitting in the realization that we are all the Christ. We are all the innocent. We have never left God. Right? That is the only truth. So we sit in the truth. And then we get the echoes because we think we're in form. All right, I'm going to leave it there. The next thing we'll do is go to section 2, which is called the ladder of prayer. All right, you'll see that it's a process once again. All right, good to be back. All right, and once again, thanks to all those who send me messages, and thank you for all your beautiful words when I stopped the reading of the text and everything that followed, a month ago. I appreciate those words. They're all very, very kind. And I will see you in the next session. Peace.